Welcome to the Bay of Plenty Referee podcast. Every week during the season, we'll bring you quick news from around the Bay, bite-sized law and an education recap, as well as an interview with people out in the middle, as well as our referees, coaches and supporters. So whether it's your first appointment or you're heading into a final, you'll get practical tips that you can use this weekend. This weekend we had a few pre-season games. Were you boys out in the middle this weekend?
Not me. I've got one this weekend.
Yeah. How about you, Sean?
Nah, unfortunately not out on the weekend we just had, but same as Jamie, out there this weekend, keen as to get into it, to kick the season off.
Well, this was a real great start to the podcast, wasn't it? The two of you had been out in the middle, but luckily I was out in the middle to save this podcast, and so I had a game between Rugby and Harataki, so had my first red card in about 4 seasons, so good times. Arm direct to the face, so it's always pretty good there. So pretty hot out there, but great to see rugby kicking off started. I think we've actually had a few red cards so far, haven't we, Jamie? Or at least 2.
Yeah, so this is our second week of pre-season, and this is our second red card, with a number of yellow cards. So probably not a good start to the season in terms of our discipline. So hopefully our clubs can be a little bit better once the season kicks off towards the end of the month and the start of April after Easter.
And now moving into the education session. So we had a session on Monday. So Jamie, you want to recap the session that you took on Monday for the Western Bay refs?
Yeah, so last night for our Western Bay referees, 5:30 we started off with our bit of a fitness session where we had 6 participants, including yourself, Sean. And then 7 o'clock we moved into the high performance centre and went through our game focus areas for the year. And all the presentations are done from New Zealand Rugby. So thanks to Maggie and Nata who have done that over the last couple of years now. I think we're into our second year. So we just follow their lead, but we can deliver it in different styles like we kind of found on Monday night.
Nice. And so what were the areas that we covered? Maybe go to you, Sean. You were there, weren't you? What were the areas we covered?
Like Jamie said, we really focused on nailing our game focus areas that New Zealand Rugby have put in place, so that we had a clear cut across the board. So everyone was aware of those. So obviously our first one there was around speed. So speed of the tackle and jackal in particular. So we're really owning those spaces, and a few key things to look out for around triggers on what could be slowing down that speed, and what to look for when teams are actually looking to play at that speed. The second one was our space. That's particularly around ruck and maul, and then in front of kicker at open play kicks. So really making sure our players are making that effort to retreat back behind an onside player, and not just kind of standing where they are like they were able to a couple of years ago around those kicks. And then ruck and maul, making sure that the players are making that effort of getting to that hindmost foot, hands and feet are up, no shortcuts. And then, do you want to touch on the other few there, Sam?
Oh, yeah. And then we had set piece. So talk about set piece in 2 spaces, kind of scrum as well as lineout. So for scrum, the key is square, space on bind, and stable. So probably continues with the theme of the S's for this. So square, space, and stable. And make sure that we're pushing straight. And then for the set piece in terms of lineout to maul, fair contest in the air. So that doesn't begin with S. And legal maul setup. And then the final one is safety, and the particular focus on that is the tackle height, and under the EDSLV, that's the first tackler needs to make contact below the sternum. And that's an area that I know New Zealand Rugby felt that we didn't nail last year, that we probably started off pretty strong on it and we went away from it. So I know that one of our real focuses as a club this year is to make sure that we really nail that sternum height tackle and continue it throughout the year and not let up. And from my game on the weekend, I know it probably had blown 6 or 7 in the first 3 or 4 minutes, and so I was in for a long day. But I think if we can get that standard early, we can get those tackles out of the game. And then the last one on safety is the croc roll. So just making sure that we don't have anyone twisting over onto their legs or onto the ground as well. So yeah, really the S's, speed, space, set piece, and safety. I think were the key focuses on that. And we also covered the game innovation. So do you want to go over those briefly, Jamie?
Yeah, so while we're in our talking about our game focus areas, we're able to add in those EDSLVs, and we're able to talk about the lineout. What happens when the ball is not thrown straight? So we all know from last year that we're playing on, but if it is a contest in the air, someone is lifted from the opposition team and it is not straight, then we do go to a free kick. We talked about our 20-minute red card. So if I red card Sean for an example in a game, he cannot come back on. But if Sam was on the bench for his team, he is allowed to come on to make it 15 on 15 again. We're able to touch on the scrum. So the halfback offside at the scrum has to stay at the tunnel or move back to the number 8's feet. And we also talked about the 1.5 metre push that isn't in play for our senior rugby, so our senior premier men's and women's.
Yeah, and for all the rest of senior, that's right, isn't it? That we're in for all senior except for designated premier grades.
Yeah, and we're also got to be aware around our secondary school rugby. They are 1.5 metre push, no matter where they are on the field. So even if they are 5 metres out from the try line, which in a Colts game you can go for a push over try, in a secondary school game it is only 1.5 metres under domestic safety law.
Nice, awesome, Jamie. And then next week we've got a session too. So I guess anyone who missed out can head along.
Yeah, I think the good thing about last night, Sam, was we were able to split into our 2026 mini team challenge teams, and each team was able to deliver a component of those game focus areas or EDSLVs. So I think it really got some people out of their comfort zone. Instead of sitting back at the end of the room and just talking to people up the front, they had to go up in their team. They had about a 15-minute planning session of how they're going to do it, and present in front of their own peers. So that was probably the highlight for me last night.
Nice. Hopefully, unfortunately, I had to miss it, but hopefully there were lots of whistling wizards there, I'm sure. Yeah,
I think that was one of the biggest groups there. So hats off to those guys.
Hats off like that, wizard hats.
And next Monday, in our Western Bay, we've got our meeting at 7 o'clock at the High Performance Centre. But again, we'll have our fitness at 5:30 at Blake Park. We also got our Central Bay meeting on Tuesday at 7 p.m. at Rotorua Intermediate. So just a holding place while we sort out our stadium and our referees room at the stadium. And on Wednesday, we have a meeting in Eastern Bay, 6 o'clock. So comms will probably head out around those two as well. So all full swing for all our sub-unions or our referee groups in those areas.
And just say, for example, someone went to all three, would they get 3 points or 1 point for their team?
They would get 3 points if they end up going to the 3 different sessions in that 1 week.
Are you saying that just because you're the person that's most likely to do that?
No, but I have had that question raised before from someone else. So, yes, there is words out on the street, I'm not saying who, around getting people in cars to go to other meetings, which is going to be cool because if that does happen, then our people from different areas get to mix and mingle at meetings, and they don't have to wait for our Bay-wide meeting on a Monday every month. So, pretty cool start to the year with our team challenge. A lot of people, sorry, going off topic, but a lot of people buying into it. A lot of people set their law exam already this year, so that's pretty cool to see.
No, and that's awesome work, Jamie, from you. And I think having the education nights on different nights, it means that if you can't make a certain night, but you're willing to drive, you can go to another one, or you just happen to be somewhere or work somewhere else, you can head along to another night. So that's awesome.
That should be pretty good. So yeah, big thanks to Josh Baker and Central for trying to get that off the ground, and Jaco and Eastonbo, who's working hard behind the scenes.
Nice. And I think Josh Baker might be on my team. So do you reckon he gets some bonus points for doing that?
I think there is something in that point scoring chart. If you do lead sessions, you do get more points.
Nice.
So yes,
I think if he set up a whole meeting in himself, that's probably like 500 points, I reckon, for the old Wizard Whistlers.
oh, we'll see. We'll see.
So well, now we'll jump on to our special guest interview section, which is Jamie Bell tonight. So what we thought, there he is.
Yes.
He's he's back. He's with us. I finally have a friend again, which is good. And so we thought what we'll do in this part of the pod is that we'll get someone from around the traps on rather than having, someone big and famous. So we thought we'd go with someone smallest and least famous to start us off. But, not many people know Jamie, so we thought we'd get into it. So why did you get into refereeing, Jamie?
Yeah, I started my refereeing journey in 2010. I was playing for Arataki at the time, and being a little small fella, kept getting injured. So I tried to find another way to be involved. And my good mate, his dad was one of our members of our club, Will Wilson. So I had a bit of a connection there, and I've known Will since we were little kids, really, or me and his son were little kids, and he'd refereed myself back in my school days down in Manawatu. So flicked a message to him, and he said, come to a Monday night meeting, and we used to have those at the top of BNZ Bank back in the day. And I was on the whistle the next Saturday, thrown in the deep end, and I guess I survived that, and here I am today.
Nice. Yeah. Will's a good dude, isn't he? Except for the fact that he's got an identical twin, and like so many times I've just been yarning away to his identical twin, and then just realised the way that he raps, it's definitely not Will. So
yeah, yeah. If you drop that refereeing comment in the first couple of minutes, you know who it is.
Yeah, nice. And so, do you have a highlight from your refereeing career so far?
Yeah, I guess I've been around for a while now, so I've got quite a few, and I kind of tell the story a little bit, but I think one that stands out is probably my second Premier game. Like the first one, I got appointed to it. It was Scruton Rotawiti, and it just went by. I didn't really think too much about it, but it wasn't until the next week when I was driving down to Apotiki for a game against Paro, and I was driving just outside of just before you head into Opo, and there was a billboard on the sideline, and it might have been like their 100-year jubilee or something like that. And I was like, oh, that would be a pretty cool event to be a part of. And I looked at the date, and I was like, oh shit, that's today. This is my second Premier game against a pretty local rival in Pardo. I was like, man, I'm out of my depth here. But no, it turned out to be a pretty good game, good crowd, good aftermatch. So that's one play that sticks out. But then I guess having my first class debut as well down in the King Country, and just the opportunities that come from that, have been able to run touch for Super Rugby and HBC Sevens when it was in Hamilton. So got a couple of different highlights there, but I think the main one is just being able to make some friends in and around the refereeing space, and getting to know other people in the community with the coaches you come across and the players you come across. So I guess some of my good mates have come from this space, which is pretty cool.
Awesome. And so how did you get into working at the union? You in your referee manager role, but you've worked there before, haven't you? So what kind of led you to going there, moving away, and then coming back?
Yeah, so I was first employed in 2022 as a junior referee and junior coach development officer. And I guess that just came about. Wanted to try and give back a little bit more. There was a job opening there. Didn't really know too much in that coaching space, so it was a good idea to come in and try something different. I was kind of looking for something else before that. So yeah, I got picked up in 22 and did a year there, and then another opportunity came up down in King Country to be, I guess, their first referee education officer full time down there, mixed in with some club development. So he ended up going down there, moving the family to Taupo for 3 years, which was a very enjoyable 3 years. Got me out of my comfort zone. I didn't really know anyone down there, didn't know anyone at the union. It's a big union to cover, so going over to Tamaranui and Tikawiti and stuff like that, up to Waitomo, you get to meet people of all ages and ranges and, you know, different backgrounds and stuff like that. And I was able to like kind of dabble in coach development, player development, you know, how to run tournaments and stuff like that. So I got a bit of a good overview of how the business ran. And then you're back into the bay, and this year just looking for that a little bit more, that extra bit of a step forward. And then the job popped up at Plenty Rugby, so I applied for that, and here we are.
Nice. And so now you've got the role. What are a few of the things that is your focus for our club for the year ahead?
Yeah, I've kind of narrowed it down to the 3 C's really, and that's communication, clarity, and culture. Obviously, we've got KPIs that we kind of need to hit in the background, but if we can sort out our communication, getting good comms out to our members, if we can sort out the clarity that happens within our club, and we can sort out our culture, and that, you know, I'm not saying that any of that was bad, but if we want to bring new people in to our club, then what is the state of our club? And I think having that mini team challenge this year is really going to drive home that culture, and that's more based on trying to get engagement and connection to our training and development meetings. So since I've started, I've caught up with quite a few of our referees from a wide range of different areas and levels. So it's been good to catch up with them and try to get an insight of where we were, because obviously I was away for 3 years. So so I guess to answer your question, it comes back to those 3 C's: communication, clarity, and culture.
Nice. And who's your favourite referee?
Oh, yeah, I've seen that question, but to be honest, I don't really have one. I guess being in this space a long time, you get to know quite a few different people. But yeah, if I have to paint the picture and you guys are paying me some money to be on this podcast, then I'd say it's you two, just to get those brownie points.
That's cool. Yeah, zero money in it. Like, anyway, we'll see how it goes. And what's your favourite law?
My favourite law, I guess coming from a halfback and probably always having a shit pass, I mean, not being able to touch the halfback is pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
I wish that was around when I was playing, because my delivery to my first 5 would have been outstanding.
Yeah.
But
I don't know if that actually would have helped, but we can suggest that.
Would have been good on one side, but not the other side, I reckon.
Awesome. And now a segment that we have, saying that like we've done this podcast heaps of times before, is a Whistler of the Week. So Sean, who's our Whistler of the Week this week?
I believe our Whistler of the Week, although I'm not sure if he was out on the weekend, I believe it was Jaco Brower from Whakatane, Eastern Bay.
Yeah.
He's put in a whole heap of mahi behind the scenes, getting our assistant or associate referee course up and running down Eastern Bay, and from that we have had 3 new referees sign up from that area. They already struggle for numbers down there, so to have an extra 3 down there is pretty massive. And you go down those areas to referee a game, and you've just got a club coach or a spectator refereeing the Bees game down there, and they actually love it. But there's never really been a bit of a plan in place or a bit of a course or pathway for them to follow to get into actually refereeing. So now, thanks to Jaco, there's something in place now, and like I say, from that we've got 3 new referees. So huge shout out to Jaco for doing that. That makes everyone's job a hell of a lot easier going down there, and it's 3 less people that we have to look at sending down the line, and it gets expensive as well for people's fuel, and it's a long way to travel. So I'd say he has to be our Whistler of the Week, in my opinion.
Awesome. Well, congrats, Jaco, and we might have him on next week to explain a little bit about that AR course and things like that, I think, because that's a pretty cool initiative that, Jamie came up with, and he's really helped deliver. And I think really important to have referees down that way. So
I think,
looking, you go, mate.
sorry, Sam. I think that kind of course was in place before I started. He was working with the Eastern Bay sub-region delegates to try and get it off the ground, and having someone in the seat really pushed it. So, I'll let him talk about that next week, but I won't take the credit for his hard work that he's put in behind the background. It's awesome to Jaco to get that off the ground, and I really appreciate what a mahi that he's been doing in behind the scenes and trying to, pass on his knowledge to his fellow Eastern Bay people.
Nice. Yeah, legend out there. And moving to the week ahead, so you two said that you've got some games this weekend. So what games do you have? Sean, how are you, mate?
Yeah, starting off the season with a bit of a bang. Blow the rust off the boots. We've got Mount Maunganui versus Te Puna Prems in a pre-season clash.
That should be a good one.
Yeah. It's always an enjoyable game actually doing those two teams. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully I can keep up.
Nice. How about you, Jamie?
I'm up at Rangatoa Durs Paddle in the final of the Rose Bowl clash over the last 3 weeks. So got a few things to sort out before that. So referee preparation is going to come in handy because my watch is not working at the moment. So if anyone's got a spare watch, then give me a shout out and I can hopefully borrow it on Saturday. So up there. So should be a pretty good to get the boots back on, get back in that Bay jersey and have a bit of a run.
Nice. Those bowl games are always pretty good. Always a good way to blow some rust off for the season. Yeah, I've got a game tomorrow, which will actually be probably yesterday by the time we put this podcast out. It's Tuesday now. I think we're going to put it out on Thursday. So just heading to the under-20s trials game. So I'm ARing for Marcus Playo, and Matt has got the game before me. So that's awesome appointment for him to have one of those under-20s trial games. So and then I'm back there on Saturday as well, refereeing AR in the final. It should be pretty good. Miss out on a card rugby, but love ARing, so it'll be awesome to get out there and try to remember how to AR. I was thinking it's been a long time since I've AR'd actually, so good luck to those who are assisting. And I saw that from the appointments that there were 15 games this weekend, so while we're still in pre-season, that's a massive amount of appointments already out there. And so I guess anyone who's watching who hasn't updated their availability, definitely do so now. And I've got like Ian's voice in my head because if we've already got 15 at this stage of the season, we definitely need all troops on deck.
I think just while you're there, Sam, just touching on the last couple of weeks with Nick Hogan being in New York and Vancouver for the Sevens as well. So as you mentioned yourself, and Matt Astle being appointed by New Zealand Rugby to do that under-20s. Nick's been on the world stage representing Bay of Plenty Rugby and New Zealand Rugby, which is pretty cool for our members to get out there and about and be on that stage. I know Tiana's been away for a few tournaments as well. And obviously we've got Estelle who's heading off to the Six Nations just after Easter, I think it is, to do a couple of games as TMO up there in the Women's Six Nations. So it's pretty cool when you get, as an REO or a referee manager, when you get those kind of messages that people have been appointed to different pieces or different higher honours as such. And it's hopefully aspiring for our next people coming through. So congratulations to you, Sam, to Matt, Nick, Tiana, and Estelle.
Yeah. It's awesome to see, that we get the opportunity to turn up on a Monday night and we've got someone who just got back from refereeing in an HSBC Sevens or, doing TMO at a Six Nations or any of those types of things. That's pretty cool. There's not many other sports where you just rock up and just be able to hang out with those people. And that's the people that we get to learn from, particularly with Nick, and all the work that he's doing and helping us, in the coaching and the referee space. So, Jamie, what's the session that we've got coming up this week?
So on Monday, after probably a tricky start to the season, we're going to look at report writing, so yellow cards, red cards, and those ones that we probably dread in that referee abuse reports, just so everyone's over it before the season starts. I think Matt Astle is going to help deliver that with me, he's been on judicial panels and stuff before. But again, we'll try to work in with our mini team challenges, and try to put a plan in place so how everyone can deliver on that as well.
Nice. And then we'll just roll out that session on Tuesday and Wednesdays in the other areas as well.
Yeah, a little bit different down in the areas, just because it's going to be more of a get together and put a plan in place for the season on how often they want to meet, due to people's time commitments. So different thing, different kind of meeting for them, I guess. But that information will be shared to them no matter how we get it to them.
Nice. Yeah, and I think that's it's really important, that judicial stuff. So we'll touch on it next week in our pod. But the amount of times that I've seen things come through, and just because the way that the referee wrote it, or they didn't necessarily check with someone else, it means that they sometimes don't get the result that they think they should have got, because it's pretty technical, all of that stuff. So yeah, I'm sure the team's looking forward to that. Cool. So thanks for joining us on the Bay of Plenty Referee podcast. So feel free to reach out with any questions, guest ideas, and like the kids say, click, share, and subscribe, and whistle well this weekend, team. Kia ora.